This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Living Well, Giving Well on Rogers, along with my co-host Denise Reid. And today our program, our host charity, is Habitat for Humanity. And as the program goes on, we'll talk a little bit about their work. Our guest today, we want to welcome Jennifer Cooper from Cooperators in Kincardine. We'll be talking about philanthropy and a variety of aspects there. Also, during the course of the program coming up, we'll have a featured video, and today we'll be looking at Chapman House and Grey Bruce Hospice and the good work that we're doing there. Jen, before we get talking to you, Denise and I always like to talk about what Living Well, Giving Well is all about, and what our mission has been, or what our concept has been.
Well, I mean, first of all, I want to say last month you were away, Fred, for our tapings, and I stumbled through. I tried to manage, but we did it, so I'm so glad you're back. And so then I can also say it's Jennifer Cook.
Oh, did I say Cooper?
Jennifer Cooper.
I'll answer. It's Cooperators. Cooper, it's in there.
Okay, so we're not going to add it. One of Jen asked before we started, we're going to edit Fred right off the bat.
No, we're
I apologize,
I'm
Jennifer.
glad I'm here to help you out there on that. So Living Well, Giving Well was a concept that Willard Vanderplug from the Hospital Foundation's Bright Shores and Stuart Reid started. He's from the Community Foundation, on how can we live well and how can we give well. And in our community, we can talk about volunteering, we can talk about monetary gifts. What makes you feel good? What makes you feel good to give to people? Or, how can we do it to make a better community and a better life?
And in terms of leaving a legacy gift, we always suggest that you consult a professional, be it a lawyer, be it an accountant, or a financial planner like Jennifer Cook, as it says here. And just for the record, I went to high school with Jennifer Cooper, so that's where that probably came from.
There you go.
It wasn't necessarily the best experience, but we'll go on from there. Jennifer, thank you so much for being with us today. Tell us about your professional activities.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. What a wonderful initiative to make sure that people in the community are even more aware about philanthropy and giving and how that can work. Myself, yes, I am a certified financial planner. I've been in the industry since 1999, which of course then dates myself a little bit. Worked in Guelph, but came back to Kincardine, where I was born and raised. So it's been wonderful being in the community, giving back, helping with the financial success of my community and the members within my community.
So you've been through a lot. You would have been through the tech bubble, and you would have been through the banking issue, and now we have a president in the United States that's impacting things. Tell us about the ups and the downs in your world.
Well, and it's funny you say that, because I always say I started in 1999, and at that point in time I had went to school to be a doctor. So science was my background, not necessarily finance, but my mother was in the banking industry, and what I thought everyone talked about around the kitchen table, turns out no one really did. So I remember entering that world and that market, and what the market value was at that time compared to what it is today. And you're right, we saw the ups and downs where you thought the world was ending, even the clock turned to the 2000, everything was going to fall apart. You forgot about 9/11, COVID, lots of things in there, but overall, that number versus what the market number is today is always higher, has always trended up, and almost never has bumped down to that original number. So it gives me hope.
So when you have a client come in, I mean, to me it's natural. Giving, whether that's my time or monetary, philanthropy is just there. But there's a lot of people, honestly, that it's not in their vocabulary. So how do you, when a client comes in, how do you go towards, they might not suggest, do you suggest, would you in your portfolio like to go into some kind of philanthropy gift?
Right. So in our reviews, so our client reviews are a cornerstone to everything we do. We meet with our clients and we make sure that we go over what's new with them or what's ongoing. One of our questions is, do you volunteer? And the reason we ask is for coverage on the PNC side, but also then it opens up that conversation of, if you are volunteering, you technically are giving already. You're giving of your time and your energy. Is there something more you can do with that, whether it be now, gifting or donating or sponsoring, or leaving something even more valuable in your will?
Yeah. So that's, I guess, one of the questions I was going to say, because everybody thinks, okay, oh, I'll give it when I pass away. Okay. There are opportunities now to give. And what do you then suggest to people? I think you hit the volunteer thing, because we've talked about that a lot in our shows. The volunteering becomes then the passion. And then, so do you find that people give more towards where they have been volunteering?
Yes, I really do. Even if it's someone saying, I'm not sure I'm ready to contribute to anything, I don't know who I'd want to contribute to, nothing is necessarily resonating with me, but as soon as something hits in someone's life that affects them, that organization has done something for them, or that they're able to do something with them, I find that bond becomes quite a bit stronger, and they want to leave a legacy, whether it be today or into the future.
Is it a natural demographic thing? And I'll use my own example, Jennifer. I probably made my first investment in my early 20s and never once thought about the legacy, because I was in my early 20s and I'm going to live to be 150 years old. And as we get older, do we naturally think about that a little more prominently?
Yes and no. So yes, definitely as we age, we probably see that light a little brighter at the end of the tunnel, and we want to do the best we can. But in today's current time, the people coming up are being educated way better on financial literacy. They have to take financial literacy in school. They have the internet, and the web, while sometimes can be detrimental, can actually help them in learning more about investing and more about what to do beyond investing in such a way of giving. And giving itself is great for the mind, the soul, also good for taxes.
Right.
So you've got some younger entrepreneurs out there that have done a really good job at making some money, and now want to figure out, how can they help keep some money to themselves, and what better way than to give to others to help them and themselves at the same time.
And not give to the government, because
Well,
government
we all
always...
want to give something. I would like a sidewalk. I just don't need it to be in gold outside of my office.
Right. Okay. So do you find, there's a lot of people, we think, oh, well, you have lots of money, you can do that. But I think that we can start, and maybe it's earlier or not, that, it doesn't have to be a high level portfolio to start. You can be giving a little at a time, and then that grows. Or
imagine if everyone gave even 10% of what they were able to give, whether that be a small gift or a large gift, what an impact that would make.
Yeah.
So all those little things add up together to be the same as one person saying they'll make one large donation. And I don't think I've met a charity or nonprofit organization that has said, no, that's not enough.
Right.
No,
Every little bit is good, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's and when I go back to the volunteering, the passion. When you volunteer, then you have relationships, or unfortunately, if it's due to health issues or whatever. So how do you broach the subject of, like you asked them, did they volunteer? Okay. Do you have to encourage, or do you encourage, or do you just try and go arounds about to get to where the idea then kind of sparks?
Right. So we do it in two ways. First, we always ask if someone has a will, which you won't be surprised, but it's surprising still to this day how many people do not. So I would say 1 in 3, no matter on age, do not have.
Wow.
Do only have a will. The other 2 do not. So just talking about a will and how important it is to make sure that your wishes are in order. And then I always say you could always leave money to a charity as well, because otherwise no one's going to ask you when you're dead if you've really wanted to do that. It's not going to happen. And then I always give a little example. So, and Willard was the one that gave the sheet out to a bunch of us, which I find extremely handy. So a couple in their 70s, and usually the people in their 70s are the ones really starting to think about it, unless it's for tax purposes, which we talked about earlier. And if they had an estate of $500,000 and they have 4 children that they'd like to distribute that estate to upon their death, both of them being gone, and they have a $100,000 RIF portfolio in there. And RIF, registered funds, are 100% taxable, and half of that is being donated to CRA when you pass away. So if you did nothing and you let that estate be divided to your 4 children, they would each receive approximately $115,000, and about $40,000 would go to CRA and a few other little adjustments. I'm not an accountant; those are just some normal numbers. If you said in your will, you know what, I'd like to leave $50,000 to the charity of my choice, the math and the tax credits come down to the kids getting just over $108,000, the charity getting $50,000 and CRA getting a little bit less. So yes, the kids are now still getting less, but there's now a legacy being left.
Absolutely.
If you even said, I'd like to divide my estate evenly between the kids and the charity, so each ending with $100,000, each child would be left with $100,000. The foundation of choice would receive $100,000, and what a gift to give
exactly.
children.
Huge.
And the government would get nothing. In that specific case. So, and we don't want to have them get nothing ever, because again,
I think they've got a lot all the way through the years.
Helpful.
They've done well.
But what a wonderful, and the kids end up with essentially $15,000 each less.
Yeah.
But usually these are adult children that, you know, wouldn't it be nice to be able to give that check as for children to that organization in honor of your parents?
Well, I would think that if it was my kids, I'm hoping they would say, "Man, way to go, Mom and Dad."
Yeah.
You know, for thinking about that, thinking of the charity, and if it's the way it goes, they don't really need that kind of money.
Right, and parents are usually saying, I want to spend all my money. My kids have enough. I don't need to leave anything. And we will say, well, if you had to leave something, would you like to know about a way to leave them something and CRA potentially nothing in a small little example?
Yeah.
And if we can kind of show them that, then maybe they're open to the idea.
Yeah.
Before we take a break, Jennifer, what charities are you involved with? I know Kincardin's a very vibrant community, but I'm sure there are needs and places where there are organizations. Tell us about some of your charitable work and projects.
Right. So I sat on the Kincardine Community Hospital Foundation for quite some time. I stepped down to help with the Kincardine Reunion Committee. That took up a lot of my time. So, and now I'm working my way back to the Hospital Foundation. We donate to many organizations throughout our town. Instead of advertising, we spend $0 on advertising. We will donate to, just recently we did even just festivals, nonprofits, Scottish Fest, Blues Fest, the backpack program in town, some local church organizations throughout town that we try to help sponsor and donate those monies to. And the community funds are also a great way to get your money into the community and then dispersed as needed.
Right.
This is Living Well, Giving Well on Rogers Television. Our guest today is Jennifer Cook. Jennifer is from Cooperators in Kincardine. Our sponsor today is Habitat for Humanity, and obviously over the course of time, over almost 40 years, they've put up almost 80 houses, and it's a great organization that you can volunteer with and donate to in various ways. You can check them out on their webpage. Just look for Habitat for Humanity, Grey Bruce, and you'll find all the information there. We're going to take a quick break. We have a spotlight video coming up that's going to feature Chapman House, Grey Bruce Hospice. Stay with us. This is Living Well, Giving Well on Rogers TV.
My name's Amy McConaughey, and I'm the Donor Relations Coordinator here at Grey Bruce Hospice, Chapman House. Our mission is to provide excellent palliative care accessible to our community and to help people living well with dying. Chapman House is a beacon of hope for our community. We support families and residents living well with dying. So if you are experiencing a life-limiting illness and at home sometimes our symptoms can become too much to manage, that's where hospice can step in and help out and take over that essential care, and family can go back to being family again. We pride ourselves with the absolute best staff here at Chapman House. They wear their hearts on their sleeves and they love what they do, and they come to work every day to make a difference in the lives of our residents. Chapman House goes above and beyond. We like to celebrate here. We enjoy making those last wishes come true. That might not be a big extravagant trip, but rather special dinners, celebrations of anniversaries or birthdays, and we pride ourselves in making those little magic moments happen here at Chapman House. There's nothing that we don't try to do to accommodate a loved one's last wishes. When your loved one passes away at Chapman House, the care doesn't end there. We welcome the family members back for memorial services and bereavement care and follow-up. We are less than 50% funded by the government, so the shortfall each year is $1.4 million. So we have to fundraise the rest. We live in a very generous community, and we are able to keep the lights on and the doors open because of our community support. I urge you, the community, to join me in making a difference. Your donation, no matter how small, will continue to keep Chapman House a beacon of hope for those in our community.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Living Well, Giving Well on Rogers Television, Grey County. I'm Fred Wallace, along with Denise Reid, and our guest today from the Cooperators in Kincardine is Jennifer Cook. Jennifer is with us today, and we're talking about leaving legacy gifts as part of our program on Living Well, Giving Well. Before we get back to Jennifer, I just want to mention off the back of the video for the Graybers Hospice and Chapman House that they have a number of events coming up. A big fishing event in the area is the Sound Shootout. That comes up in August, and also they have the Road Relics Raffle, which is coming up in August as well. Great fundraisers for the hospice, and also for Chapman House. A very popular event every year is the September Rib Fest in Owen Sound, and that too is a great fundraiser for hospice. So again, you can check out all their information at graybershospice.com. Jennifer, before we left, I kind of fired a fastball at you and asked about the charities, and I might have neglected to ask about a couple that you were involved with from a corporate and personal standpoint.
Yeah, it's funny because you put on the spot and then you try to think of what you've done so recently, but it's also really important, especially just you mentioning hospice. So hospice in our town is an organization that we definitely want to make sure that we're helping and supporting, as well as our hospital. Large campaign going on in Kincardine right now, so it's something that you want to make sure people are involved in.
Were you involved in handbags for hospice?
Absolutely.
Tell us about that event, because it looked like a terrific event. Obviously, I'm not centered in Kincardine, but I went, what a marvelous idea. Tell us about handbags for hospice.
I know it's a real hardship to have to go to a sponsorship event where you have to walk away with a bag to make sure that you've done something to support the group. It is an event where people collect, the majority are females, but not all, to hear about hospice and their initiatives, to vote and bid on different bags. So try to outbid your peers and your friends and walk away with what you think is the best bag. They usually always have wonderful entertainment and lovely snacks, which is fun.
And what did you get for a bag?
Well, I have a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a good shopping day.
It was, yes.
Well, you know, it's interesting when I hear you talk, you know, there's the passion. I can feel that passion with you, the idea of volunteering and wanting to help your community. And I think that would probably go to your clients, you know, pass that on to them, and your suggestions and getting them to even think about the possibilities of giving. Is it different giving when they're still living as compared to giving when they've passed away in their will? I mean, I think that's a big question, I think. But, I mean, would it be a suggestion, well, let's do it right now while you're living. You can see this, and then maybe a legacy gift when they've passed away.
Yeah, that's a tough dilemma, right? I mean, I would say, who wouldn't want to do it while they were living, so you could see the impact directly that you've made on that organization. But there's always that little voice in the back of your head wondering if you'll need that money, and what if you need it down the road. Mm-hmm. And it's maybe not always the clients saying those things, it's maybe their kids as well, wanting to make sure that they're looked after and that they're not doing something without thinking it all the way through. So why not do it in little bits and then have it as a final estate wish as well?
Again, I wonder if it's a demographic thing. Our parents, or my parents certainly, were Depression children, and so they held on very, very tightly. Do you see that change in your experience?
No.
Okay.
No.
Isn't it interesting?
And I'd say as well, while people might have maybe not holding on to their money as tightly, we're living longer, right? 7% increase in centenarians over the next 5 years is people living past 100, wondering, will they outlive their money?
Which
and
would
what
be the
about
worst thing ever, right?
Right? Yeah. I mean, the perfect day to die is the day after you spent your last dollar.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't know. And on December 31st, so it's the end of that tax year. But I mean, the stars have to really align for that to happen.
Yeah, I think, I mean, yeah, when you're saying we're living longer, I mean, 65 used to be the retirement age, and you would think, okay, fine, I've got maybe 10, 20 years. Well, now, if you retire at 65, you've still got maybe 30 years. And I mean, that's probably maybe the amount you've worked. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, depending. Yeah. I mean, depending on everybody's situations. And I think we've learned as we've gone on the show here that people want to look after their family. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've talked to the lawyers, and they want to look after their family, but there's still so much in a smaller portion that could be given to a charity or whatever. I think. And now I just wanted to know, do you deal with, because we talked about this, who do you go to? Do you go to your financial advisor? Do you go to your lawyer? Do you go to your bank person? You know, do you find that you deal with a team to do what is best for your client?
Yeah, I'd say depending on the size of the donation and when you're going to do it, now or in your will, you should definitely connect with a legal professional, an accountant, and a financial advisor.
Yeah.
So those three together, whether they're in a bank institution or an independent institution on the financial advisor side, those three people have a different kind of lens into each one. Even if I say you should probably be doing maybe 100,000 of your stocks should be donated over because I know you have the stocks, I know what your capital gains are, I can't write that in your will.
No.
I can maybe put it as a beneficiary designation depending on what type of investment you have, so I can maybe help you. But even if I do, let's go to your accountant and make sure that that offsetting capital charitable donation or tax deduction is actually going to do what we hope it would do. So the accountant would help out, and maybe the lawyer needs to make sure the will isn't saying anything that's contrary to everything.
Yeah. I like the way that the lens, you said, you see in different lens, because my husband is an accountant and he does see things a little differently, you know, in certain ideas, and is always looking, and I think we all need to look and say, who can help us?
Well, sometimes the math might not make sense, but the empathy does, right? So it might be something you want to do, even though on the math side it's not perfect. So you have to take both into account.
One of our sponsors is willpower.ca, and we encourage people to go to willpower.ca primarily because they make it simplified for you. They give you very basic steps, and what we're talking about today might seem complex, but it really shouldn't be.
No, it really shouldn't. And as long as you can go somewhere to get the information and become educated, which is that whole part I was telling you about, how this generation has far more access to information to be able to educate themselves on these topics than we ever did growing up.
It's interesting because, and I mean, my you know, when I look at my grandma and, you know, the depression, I mean, as we go, we all have our challenges, but I totally understand that we do have that accessibility. However, I still think it was my job as a parent to try and teach my kids the monetary, you know, ins and outs and whatever. But not everybody does that. And I think that's where, if you can just encourage going to somebody that is knowledgeable on it. And I think it's very key that you don't have to have a ton. No. You can have a small portfolio that can, you know, can get you where you want to go, and the feeling of that is pretty good.
Your small portfolio is still a lot for you if you're in that case. That's still a major donation in your life. So it should be viewed as something that's equally as important. And like I said before, even saying 10% of my estate, 90% is still going to your kids, just 10%, whatever that estate ends up being at the end.
Yeah, we were saying earlier in one of our earlier programs that 10% of Denise's estate, there wouldn't be a charity around that wouldn't do a backflip.
He always does this. Didn't you forgot the $1 million part?
Yeah, so 10% of $1 million. So
yeah, he always refers to that.
That's a very good chunk. You mentioned earlier, Jennifer, about the emotional benefits of being involved with a charity or supporting a charity. Can you elaborate on that and how good you feel, whether it was the hospital or the hospice or, you know, the Kincardine reunion, how good that feels?
Well, that's to me really obvious. Like, how could you not feel good? You're doing something and you can see directly how much that's benefiting. And if people weren't helping out, there'd be no one there to be able to put those processes in place. And usually you see the same 10 people, give or take, on each of the foundations and boards. But it's good to get the word out like you guys are doing now. It would open people's eyes to the need and the fact that people can help out in any regard. And making sure that education piece, even touching on, you were saying about the kids and educating your kids, if you are going to put a charity in your will, make sure they know. Don't let that be a surprise at the time of death, because maybe they don't understand why they were left less than what they thought they were going to do. Explain to them why you've left it to the hospital foundation, because you think it's important and there's medical equipment that's required at that time, and that will help them understand at the time of reading of the will.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that, about talking about death, talking about wills. That's probably one of the more awkward or difficult conversations to have with your children. Or communication is pretty key in anything, business, whatever. But when it comes to talking to your kids, they don't want to hear it. Oh, yeah, you're going to be around.
Bring them in with your financial advisor. You're meeting with your financial advisor anyways. They're going to talk about things whether you want to or not. It's our job to do it. So we might as well do it as one big group.
So that's a good tip that helps them to understand. I mean, you hope that they have some kind of idea of your passion and that, but
the educational process, right? It's probably something that should be priority one in a high school program. I'm assuming, and I don't know that it is.
I mean, if it wasn't, we wouldn't need campaigns like this.
Right.
I mean, there's a reason we need campaigns. We need more education, and the more we can do it, going into school, high schools, even with this, would be wonderful. Why not start them at 19? 18, 17.
Yeah, even to get that idea. The idea of, I mean, Fred and I at lunch, we talked about volunteering and how that's just a natural. We do, this is what we're doing today, right here, you know, as we do. But it isn't always there with everybody. And I think, I'm hoping that will pass into the generations, you know, to go. But life seems to be busy for younger people these days.
Yes.
Both working. But no matter what, we all need to be looking out for our community and our family community, whatever way you want to put that.
They probably still are volunteering, maybe without them knowing it, coaching on teams, being a manager, running to go get juice boxes. So in a small way, they're still volunteering.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. That's right.
Our time is rapidly coming to a close here, Jennifer. Thanks for being here today on Living Well, Giving Well. Before we let you go, your priorities to people when they want to leave a gift to a charity in their will or as they live. What are the priorities that people absolutely need to know?
You mean in setting it up? I guess twofold on both sides. One would be make sure you do your research. Make sure it's a charity or organization that you're passionate about, that is in line with your values, that do the research to see how much money goes to administration and how much into the charity. And then sit down with someone. Don't be afraid. Ask a question. See if it could help your estate in any manner, whether it be today. There's many, many different ways to leave money, not just one. Everyone seems to think either I need to name a charity in a will or maybe as a beneficiary on a life insurance policy. Those are two very good ways, but there's lots of other ways. So just open the gate and walk through it and ask, how can I help?
Was this fun?
It was a lot of fun.
All right. In spite of the fact that one of the hosts botched the names.
That's okay. It was close.
Jennifer Cook, and it says so right on my notes here, is our guest today from Cooperators in Kincardine. How do people get in touch with you? I guess I should ask too.
They can pop in our office on Queen Street in Kincardine, find us on the internet, Jennifer Cook, Kincardine Cooperators, or give us a call, 519-396-7541.
Our host charity today is Habitat for Humanity, and they do tremendous work in our broadcast area. Again, almost 80 houses have been constructed over the course of time since 1987, and we had a feature video today from Chapman House. On our next edition, we'll be joined by another member of the Cooperators, Sam Bryant, will be joining us, so please make plans to join us next time on Rogers TV, Grey County, for Living Well, Giving Well.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
With Rogers TV, you can cheer on the home team from the comfort of your living room. We'll head to the rink, the field, the court, or the pitch, so you don't have to. Tune in and cheer on your local amateur athletes on Rogers TV.
Are you a passionate content creator ready to expand your audience reach? Do you have unique stories, captivating hobbies, or special interests that deserve a spotlight? Rogers TV is here to amplify your voice within the community. We offer you the platform to broadcast your content to a wider audience. And the best part, it's completely free. Don't miss this opportunity to share your vision and engage with viewers. Find out how Rogers TV can transform your content journey today.